Welcome to this tutorial on how to get started with ZillaLib on Android. You can find help and more detailed instructions in the README file under Android on the ZillaLib GitHub project page. On my machine, I have already installed the Java Development Kit, the Android SDK, the Android NDK, and finished setting up a debug key store according to this guide. I also have Visual Studio installed for writing and debugging C++. For testing, I am running the Android emulator on which we will be running our new game in just a few minutes. The first step is to get the library itself by downloading the zip file from the project site. Once downloaded, we extract it and rename it to just ZillaLib. Now we need to create a configuration file to tell ZillaLib where the Android SDK is installed. I'll use Notepad and write these three settings, matching my environment. As you can see, the SDK is under E, Dev, Android, SDK. The NDK is next to it and the Java Development Kit is here as well. This file needs to be saved in the Android subdirectory of the library under the name ZillaApp localconfig.mk. Next up, located under Tools, we can open the interactive project generator in a web browser. First, we enter a project name. And for now, let's deselect all platforms but Visual Studio and Android. For explanation of these other settings, check the Setting up ZillaLib with Visual Studio tutorial. Under Android, we have a bunch of specific settings. For now, all we need to customize is this build for ABIs setting. Because we will be testing on the 64-bit emulator, we select this target. This can easily be modified later. For this simple test, we disable the sample scene and enable a sample font file. Then we can create and save the project archive. We extract this here next to the library itself. Let's open the solution file with Visual Studio. Once open, we set the build configuration to Android Debug. The build platform setting inside Visual Studio is irrelevant for Android builds. Next, we can just select Start without debugging to build and run the game in the emulator. If the emulator was not running but a real device was connected via ADB, it would start up on that. As we can see, during the first time building, it compiles the whole library before compiling and packaging the application. And here we go. The first ZillaLib game is running on Android. It is running in a horizontal orientation because that's the default suited for most multi-platform games. But let's change that. By adding the Allow Any Orientation flag to the display init call, it will happily resize to match any orientation. Let's add some red to the background and change this framerate display to show some text in the center of the screen. I use Ctrl F5 to build and start without debugging. There it is. We can change the text and also add some simple interactivity by drawing a blue circle when the screen is touched. Easy. For more information, check the website or the project page, and thanks for watching.